just to start off, you know, for our fan base, you know, our university, you know, I'm sorry for the outcome, and you know, I know how much it means. This game means to our team, to our individuals, coaches, players, everybody all involved, our past players, you know, to our program, and you know, this is a game that there's so much excitement around and excitement for, and you know, to come up short in this one is utterly disappointing in every way. You know, I thought our guys, you know, they battled. You know, we just had, you know, too many mistakes. Miami did a good job. They did what they needed to do to win the game. You know, they protected the football. They hit some explosive plays. You know, and you know, I thought our guys, you know, just we fell behind early. You know, whether it was just some untimely, you know, penalties, just some mistakes that we made. That you know was just a little too much to overcome there in the end. You know, I thought our guys battled. You know, in the fourth quarter, I mean, I believed, you know, throughout that we would you know, get a spark, that we would start to, you know, to put it together, and you know they did. And you know, but unfortunately, it was too little, too late, and you know, weren't able to come out on top. But you know, it's a locker room that's hurting. You know, there's been a lot of work and investment. You know, like I said, you know, throughout the week. I mean, it's a 365 day a year game, and you know, so when you come up short in this one, you know, it just you know, I mean, it hurts. And you know, as a coach, I have to be better. You know, in helping continue to help to assist our guys. That we eliminate some of the mistakes that were better in some of the key situations. And to just to continue to lift them up and push them forward. And you know, we will respond from this. You know, nobody wants to have to go through it, but you know, these guys, they are going to fight, and they're going to continue to get better. And you know, we have an opportunity here this next week to go make improvements and to showcase all that we are. And we've shown to be a talented team, and a team that is very capable. You know, we made some mistakes tonight that definitely cost us.
First question will be Chris.
The 4th and 8 decision early on in the game, can you just reflect upon it? And obviously Miami turned around and on the next play hits a bang play for a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of on the brink of the thought process of, you know, where to go with that. I mean, you know, wanted to be aggressive. You know, felt good about you know, opportunities that we could have there. You know, we've been good on 4th down situations. You know, it's we're a little outside of field goal range. You know, potential of trying to pin them, but it was, you know, just, you know, distance-wise, I felt good about what we could accomplish. You know, obviously you don't want to have the interception and the big return, and then the next play they scored, so that didn't go how you know anybody wants it to. But you know, those are decisions that are made throughout the course of the game when it comes to you know, what you want to do, and it was the one I made.
Brendan.
How would you evaluate Tommy's performance? It seemed like it had to settle in for quite a bit of the game, and then finally did. I guess what wasn't working early on, and what did work when it started to?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's sometimes in a game of football you go through the ebbs and flows. I mean, you know, they did a good job. I thought the first drive, you know, we were able to move the ball down the field. You know, it's a couple good throws. You know, just unfortunately not being able to finish in the end zone there. You know, we kind of got a little off rhythm at times, and you know, there were some opportunities, and there's, you know, you got to give credit to them. They created some pressures, and you know, it's a challenging defense, you know, in that regards, and I thought they did a nice job with what they were trying to do and accomplish to get him off the point. And then, you know, I thought he did settle down there later in the game, and you know, he showed tremendous heart, you know, tremendous fight, and you know, was leading this team. And, you know, Tommy, there's, you know, I believe in him. I believe in who he is and what he's about. And you know, he went in and, you know, told the team right after that, you know, he takes ownership for all things that he does, and you know, I respect him so much for that. And you know, he's going to be he's going to be an absolute leader in pushing with the response of this team. And but it's not all on him in any regards. And in everything that we could do, we can all push and be better. But he's a competitor. He wants to do it all for this team. And it was just some times where he wasn't quite in rhythm like he's been. And some of that you got to give just credit to the opponent.
Go to Ira, over on your right.
You guys obviously did a pretty good job against the running game, but how much of their big plays in the passing game was a result of the emphasis on stopping the run, or is it not?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously there's we knew that we had to be aggressive in the run game. That's something they want to establish. We also realize that that there's going to be vertical shot opportunities, and it comes down to discipline with your eyes, trust and technique. It's that flea flicker that we were pretty confident we would see at some point. There tonight, but unfortunately just they were able to execute and they made the play. But you can't in a game like tonight. I mean when you look at turnover margin, number one, it's something we talked about throughout the course of the week. When you're -3, 14 points off turnovers, it's a killer. And we also knew the run game. That was something that we had to try to establish it. We had to try to stop it. And then obviously is the explosive play component of it. We didn't have enough of them, and they got they had 2 or 3 that were kind of daggers throughout the night when you look back upon it. But it's things that we expected we would potentially see, but just didn't do a good job. Didn't do a good enough job of stopping when they shut up.
Come back over here for Liam.
2 straight games, you mentioned it with the self-inflicted wounds and some of these turnovers. When we talk about response, what do you expect to see from the group when you guys go to practice and just throughout the rest of the regular season?
Well, I mean, it's something that's being emphasized, but with emphasis, there's got to be application, and we can't lose the turnover margin. I mean, it's two straight games. We've had 3 turnovers. We gotta get that fixed, and it was clear understanding and expectation for what we needed to get done, but fortunately we didn't apply that well enough. And there's a lot of things that can show up, and especially when it comes to an interception. I mean, there's a lot of different factors that go into that. It's protection, it's location, it's route. Sometimes it's all different aspects that comes to what when anytime that there's a pass intercepted. But we had a couple balls that got to the ground. One that was a fumbled. That was a turnover, and then another one that got to the ground. And so we got to be better there. And it is the application of the things that are being emphasized, and we just have to take a step there.
Brendan.
The impact of losing Micah, I guess how difficult was that to lose him, and do you have an update on whether that's short term, long term potentially?
I don't have an update. Not expecting anything long term when it comes to that, but I mean, obviously you don't want to lose anybody, and but we had a plan in place, and in tonight's matchup it was magnified that much more, just because of who you're going against, and you got 2 of the better ends in the country that they were able to create a little bit of pressure. I thought Adrian did a good job of being able to go out there and fight and compete, and obviously Rizzy coming in, but that was it definitely added to the challenge of what we were trying to do, and we'll see where it all progresses with Mike.
We'll go over to Corey on your right.
How much of the moment do you think impacted the offense in the first half as far as, it just seemed like out of character mistakes, whether it was a personal foul or interceptions or even dudes trying to fight for extra yardage. I mean, it's a good thing, but it just seemed like mistakes that hadn't been happening. Any attribution like nerves or just the game that set the
I mean, this game carries a great deal of weight, and you know, everything you do is to prepare you for this. And, you know, you gotta be able to manage and handle that. I can't sit here and say, well, that's why this or that happened, but, you know, I thought, like, even with the first drive, you know, we moved the ball down the field, we put ourselves in position. You know, I thought, you know, there was opportunity, you know, down there, but, you know, unfortunately we got held to a field goal, and then, you know, there were some spots within each of the next drives that, you know, like I said, I mean, there were plays for the taking, and just things that, you know, we weren't, you know, just good enough. And, you know, there's obviously things that I'm sure players, coaches, everybody involved, we'd all like to have back, but, you know, that's why you practice the way you practice, why you train the way you train, is so that in those big moments, in those times with great pressure, or, you know, playing against talented opponents, man, that you rise above that. And so, you know, you can figure, you know, try to find a million different reasons of why, but, you know, it's our job to get it fixed. And you know, there's a heavy push for expectation here, and that's every day. That's, you know, practice field, weight room, nutrition, classroom, everything, you know, social life. I mean, all things are challenging, guys. So, you know, in these moments, you know, our best shows up, and unfortunately that didn't happen to the level it needed to, and so, you know, we've got to get better.
We have time for a couple more, we'll go top right.
You mentioned turnovers, three today, 3 last Friday. Common theme in these close games. Tommy was just in here and he mentioned that you guys haven't really, you know, had a team beat you. You guys beat yourselves. Is that something that you kind of echo that sentiment? Is that something that in your mind you're like, this is the silver lining that we have for these losses?
Yeah, I'm not somebody that ever carries a silver lining for a loss. I mean, you win or you lose, and you know, I'm, you know, our guys, you know, they competed, they fought, you know, we've come down to really where it's been one possession at the end of the last 2 games, but you know, at the end of the day, we didn't play well enough, or coach well enough, or, you know, execute well enough to get the victory. So, you know, I believe in the talent and the ability that this team has, but, you know, we've got to get better, and so, you know, it's there for our, you know, for what we do in our response, and what we do with our preparation here this week to go apply the corrections, so that we don't have to have this experience again.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.